Food is fuel for your body, your mind, and definitely your sport. But let's face it, nutrition is confusing, and the expectations on girls and women to be thin and have a six-pack are exhausting. If you've ever been confused about nutrition, frustrated with your body, obsessed with eating healthy or feeling guilty when you don't, underate, overate, or overtrained and overwhelmed with all the pressure, then this podcast is for you. Nutrition can be easy. You can take control of it. But it might start with letting go of control by asking the experts and making a change. I'm Lindsey Elizabeth Cortes, sports dietitian, entrepreneur, lifelong athlete, mom, and host of the Female Athlete Nutrition Podcast, where I empower female athletes to overcome nutrition concerns and perform at their highest level, to stop being confused by all the mixed or harmful messages, and finally have confidence in nourishing your body as a fierce, fit, and fueled female athlete. Follow, like, subscribe, share, and send to a female athlete in need, and head to lindseycortes.com for more content, all curated specifically for female athlete nutrition. Hello, fans. Welcome back to another episode. I'm Lindsey Cortes, your host, registered sports dietitian, and I'm here with another fellow sports dietitian, registered dietitian, Nick Padula. He is a private practice owner and professor of nutrition at the University of Southern California. He has been a practicing dietitian since 2015 as a clinical dietitian, a food service director. And in addition to his company, Nutrition, LBC Nutrition, and a dietetic consulting company, Nick is a lecturer and coordinator with the University of Southern California Masters in Nutrition program and sports dietitian for the Cypress Junior College Athletics. Nick studied nutrition and dietetics at Long Beach State University and received a bachelor's degree in 2012 and a master's degree in nutrition and dietetics with a concentration in sports nutrition from Texas Tech University. In his practice, he has worked with triathletes, professional boxers, endurance runners, professional soccer players, high school athletes, and the USC football and basketball teams. Nick is an avid runner, weightlifter, and golfer. Nick, welcome to the show.
Wow, I've done a lot of things. My God, it's like jack of all trades, master of just nutrition specific things. Okay.
It's nice to hear it read back to you. It's a good confidence boost. Like, yes, I'm doing something good with my career. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've done a lot. Actually, just to speak dietetics for a moment, I remember when I was looking into, I ended up getting my master's at Florida State, my dietetic internship there. I remember looking at Long Beach State University because I think they had like a sports emphasis there, right?
Yeah, especially at the time, I think we're the same age. At the time, there wasn't many sports specific nutrition programs, and that was one of the few.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, if the listeners don't know, Long Beach is like the younger sister city to Los Angeles. So it's about 25 miles away, still in Los Angeles County. It's the Oakland to San Francisco, Long Beach to LA kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it was one of the few. There weren't many sports nutrition grad school or internship opportunities at all. So I definitely looked at it. So it was a good program. You liked it? You got a degree there?
I liked it. I mean, oddly enough, I didn't want to go into sports at the time. I wanted to be a clinician. I wanted to be in the ICU and doing like the deep clinical nutrition support kind of thing. But I don't know. I am the sports guy, so it would always surprise everybody when I wasn't going into sports nutrition. I wanted to go into clinical and like wear a lab coat.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is fate. This is fate for me.
Yeah.
Teaching at USC, being from LA, and being a sports dietitian.
I think as well, I really value sports dietitians that understand that clinical side. I value that. I worked as a clinical dietitian only for a year. I think I could have benefited from doing it more, but I think you get a deeper awareness of how the body works. So it's like, obviously when we're dealing with athletes, we're talking about elite performance, but it's like, you need to know how the body works in these severe, extreme situations with disease or complications. One, you can have an athlete who is performing at a high level with a disease, like type 1 diabetes or something like that. Like you can have a high level athlete with type 1 diabetes, and to have that confidence and that understanding from that clinical medical nutrition background, I think is so powerful. And then also there's many situations where sports actually become extreme and the body physiologically is going through something that almost mimics like a more medical disease state. So the
Yeah.
one that comes to mind for me is like an athlete in reds is like, oh, the
Yep.
body's doing these things in starvation mode that,
Mm-hmm.
or inflammation or gut issues we see in athletes is like, oh, this is what happens, you know, when the gut isn't fed because somebody's
Mm-hmm.
been NPO for 12 hours or something,
Yeah.
right? Like you can
Yeah.
see
So
that
like
growth.
my students, if they listen, if they probably listen, will laugh because I love to give the most extreme examples of whatever point I'm trying to make. And it's to that point of when I work with my boxers that are weight cutting, like especially that last week, like clinically, there's so much that goes into having them lose that extra, sometimes 10 pounds in 3 days. So they're manipulating their sodium, their fluid, their fiber, glycogen storage, their water intake. So it's like becomes so extreme. And just knowing that clinical background and having the experience is like, that's what totally helps.
Because that's where it can also get really dangerous, like definitely in the sport of boxing or any
Exactly.
other weight class sports
Exactly.
where like it's so cool the nutritional science that like we can do this for a period of time and it might achieve peak performance, but if you do it wrong, it's very dangerous.
You're
Um,
going to go get hit in the head, dehydrated,
mhm.
because this is your sport, or you're going to go play football and into a car accident, basically
Right.
multiple times a game. So it's can be life or death. It can be
Mhm.
very, very scary.
And I think this is a good distinction as well because I care about fitness, movement, and the everyday exerciser in which I fall in that category right now. So
Same here.
no shade on that. It's valuable, but I think this is the difference between like nutrition for everyday performance and like sports nutrition of
Hmm.
competitive athletes. It is that,
Hmm.
and I think I've kind of I don't know how to express this fully, maybe you can, but there are so many dietitians out there that are saying, "Oh, sports nutrition for like your gym workout." And I'm like, "Yes, like I care about that, but a
Hmm.
truly trained sports dietitian is dealing with situations that you just mentioned, helping somebody safely cut 10 pounds in 3 days to perform at their highest
Hmm.
level." Like that honestly seems almost impossible, and yet somebody as trained as you can
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. So two things. So let's expand 10 pounds in 3 days, but then also put everything back in, everything fluid, sodium, protein to get ready to go get punched in the face for 35 minutes. So it's like lose it, gain it all within 24 hours.
Yeah.
So crazy. To your point of the category that we fall into, the non-elite athletes, love them. I'm there, but a lot of, I would say, like amateur or recreational athletes, they want to train and eat like they are professional elite athletes, which is great, but stick to the basics at that
Mhm.
level. You might not need supplements, just meal timing, what type of meals you're eating before, during, and after. But kind of like my rule, and like if you're a recreational athlete and you work out for 60 minutes at a time, you're kind of just at like the baseline level. Like I'm not really
Mhm.
going to worry about what you're going to eat during.
Mhm.
Once you exceed 60 minutes, 90 minutes, then it's a next level of like focus of, okay, now let's talk about what you're eating during your exercise
Mhm.
and before, because you're going to be tapping into your glucose. You're going to need more energy and fuel. You're kind of hitting another level. And then like
Yeah.
the next level would be like marathon. Next level would be Ironman. So like the longer your duration that you're exercising for, like that's when you really start to have to like refuel, have your
Mhm.
pit stops for your nutrition during.
Mhm.
But for me and you, I'm not eating anything during. I'm
No.
barely drinking anything during because I'm going for a 4 mile run. Like
Right.
who cares? You're
But you hit
fine.
your
You
post-workout appropriately.
you can
You
already
ate well
exactly
beforehand. Those basics that
exactly.
yeah. And again, so many people, the everyday person so often like skips the basics, but wants to do the supplementation and the weight cutting like
Yep.
a boxer. It's like,
And wants
no.
to do like the electrolyte mixes and all the things that they see that are really tailored to the high end athlete.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You got to humble yourself, I guess. Like you're not quite
Yeah.
the high end athlete.
Yeah.
And these supplement companies want to make money. So they're going to pitch to everybody,
Yeah.
you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. We have so much to talk about, but I wanted to ask you one question based on what you said about
Yeah.
the feeding and then refeeding like a boxer so that they can go
Everybody loves the
perform.
boxing stuff. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so because and also I've worked with so many different sports. I've never worked with boxing
It
or
is
wrestling.
so niche. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is
And
so
MMA, I
niche.
haven't done any fighters at all.
Mhm.
So, I mean, except like my husband does jujitsu. So like I know about the sport, but I don't,
Yeah.
he's not a professional. So anyways, but it's like going back to this crossover of like sports nutrition, it's good to have that clinical experience. Cause like when you said I have to refeed them, like I was thinking refeeding syndrome, like
Refeeding syndrome, yeah.
like, is that a risk in that sort of time frame of like rehydrating and repleting electrolytes that quickly? What does that look like in that?
It can be. So it depends on the how extreme your cut was. If you really had to, if you had a long duration of dehydration and your first like refeeding or first rehydrating isn't something with electrolytes, you can go into seizures and you can have like a low sodium total like
Mhm.
electrolyte imbalance seizure, which there's a video online that I show my students. It was from like the MMA reality show that one of the guys that was going through his cut was refeeding and just rehydrated with water. So there's kind of that issue.
Mhm.
And there's also not to the extent of like refeeding syndrome when you reintroduce foods or a tube feed to like eating disorder patients. We're getting real deep. But to when you go through the whole week of restricted diets and restricted fluid, your first meal should not be McDonald's McGriddles. Your
Mhm.
first meal should be something a little more tolerable to your GI system. So like a low fiber, kind of slowly reintroducing. I usually do like a chocolate milk and like
Um,
Pedialyte first to
eh,
kind of get into it
because you
because
get
it's not
everything with those two foods. You're hydrating, nourishing, carb, protein, fat,
all of it. Yeah.
all the electrolytes,
Yeah.
everything is in those.
Easy to digest.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're going to go into refeeding syndrome and have a seizure, but it's more of, I don't want you to go run to the bathroom or your stomach doesn't feel well. And now you
Make things
really
worse.
can't rehydrate and refuel properly
Right.
because you have to go perform at your highest in 24 hours
Yeah.
in front of thousands of people,
Yeah.
where it's the opposite of fueling for your performance. So I did a talk on this. We're just going for it.
Yeah.
I did a talk on this at the California Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. I spoke on weight cutting at the symposium, and
Yeah.
I led off with, I want you all to suspend all of your belief, all of your prior thoughts about fueling and proper nutrition right now, because this is completely different.
Mhm.
We're going to like deplete you. We're going to dehydrate you. We're going to
Sounds
underfuel you
backwards.
for this point.
Right.
And then we're going to, yeah, it's just a crazy
Yeah.
thing.
But yeah, you have to, because if you're like, "No, that's harmful," it's like, but there's an intent
Yeah, it is,
here.
but
Yeah, there's an intention
it's
here,
part of the
there's an
game.
end goal, this is part of it, and, yeah, yeah. So fascinating, but I
Ideally, ideally, I don't have a job. I don't see those clients because the combat sport entities figure out a way to do this fairly, and
yeah,
they don't have to do this song and dance of cutting weight and all that. There are studies that show that it may even not work at all if they have the height advantage. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So like there's a lot of research that goes into this and a lot of people are trying to fix it, but it's just the way it is for
for
110
now.
plus years
Yeah.
of weight cutting.
Well, I think that's something I've been curious about myself, and again, I don't have any hands on. I've been a sports dietitian for I don't even know how many years now, 12 or 12, I don't know, more than 10 years. And and I've wondered this for a while, like, is there another way? But I think without working in it, I haven't done the research either to be fully transparent. But I will share a small story. A few years ago, I had a mom reach out to me because her 15-year-old daughter was a great wrestler and was being advised to cut weight to stay in a certain weight class.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
told her, I said, I talked with her for a long time. I ultimately did not work with her because
Hmm.
after assessing her, I said, I do not support her being in this weight class.
Hmm.
I support her in this sport. I want her to be in this sport, but I do not support me educating, teaching her and guiding her in nutrition to keep her at this weight because she's 15 years old. She only
Yep.
just hit puberty, and I'm
Hmm.
not confident that this is a healthy weight for her. And I don't think we should be
Hmm.
doing that. And they chose not to work with me. They respected my
Yep.
opinion. And I know that they did. I felt good that they let me know she did find a dietitian to work with. So at least I'm like, well, at least they're working with a dietitian, and not that we can
Yeah.
trust all dietitians are good, but she's in a professional's hands and not
Hmm. Hmm.
just like doing what the coach tells her to do. But, that was at that point in time, I was like, but I don't agree with this. So I'm not going to guide you through it.
And that happens. You'll have the weight classes that are more glamorous, that are have more money than other ones. And a lot of fighters will want to stay at that certain weight class. And, you do the math and you go, okay, you're at this weight, you're at this body fat. I'm going to assume a 6 to 8% of your body weight dehydration. And you're still not, if this all works on paper and you're still not there at that weight, then we're losing muscle. Then we're getting overly dehydrated. Like, this is not the weight class for you.
Yeah.
And you get some boxers and some of their coaching camps are like, yeah, sorry, I don't want to work with you because we're going to get to this weight no matter what.
Yeah.
Okay. And they don't make it, or they get knocked down or whatever have you. Is that part of nutrition? It could be, but it's just, we have ethics, and that's exactly kind of the dilemmas that we do get into sometimes. Like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I don't advise.
Well, I'm going to stay interested to see if research comes out, like you mentioned, of maybe we don't even need to do this. It's this is the way the sport is for now, and science is always evolving. So we'll see.
Always.
All right. Well, like you said, we just dove right into things. So fascinating. And what I'm hearing from our conversation too is just like your love of the science of nutrition. And when we go on your website and, learn about kind of what you do, it was refreshingly science focused. You do a lot of testing with your clients. So I'm just going to read off some lab testing you do: genomics, DNA testing, microbiome testing, metabolomics, metabolic testing, oxidative stress testing, lots of things there. So I'd love to hear just a bit about your nutrition philosophy, kind of your approach when you're working with clients and athletes. Just generally speaking, then we'll dive into specifics. Do you do testing on everybody or only people who are symptomatic? What does that look like for you?
Yeah. So we, in dietetics, we have all these general guidelines. You see the RDAs, you see the MyPlate, and like all these general guidelines are great and all, but we all have our own fingerprints. We all have our own nutrition fingerprints. And what this does, what the testing does, it just helps us have a clearer picture of how we can help you. We don't guess, we test. And so much of dietetics and like traditional route is just talking and getting to know the person and just getting that hearing from them. We kind of just can have an educated guess based on your background, based on your habits. We can come up with some goals for you. But with this, we have a clear picture of whichever tests that we may recommend. We have a clear pathway, a clear, precise plan, as well as just the subjective data and whatever you bring to us. So it's just more data that we can pull to and that we can talk about, and just makes it a lot more customized to whatever you may be feeling. And whether it's the weekend warrior or if it's the professional boxer, like we talked about, like it just clears the picture, just adds more data. And as a science nerd,
we do.
And
most data. Athletes love their data too. So I think what I've found is it's really nice to line up, like when somebody is having symptoms and you're talking about it and you're making your educated guess as a dietitian as to why this might be. And then when you can then give them their data as well, like, okay, you're tired in the afternoons. Well, I see you're not eating enough at lunch. And also your lab work says your iron's kind of low. It's like, now we've got a direction to move in, and this all lines up. So we're not just like, I feel a certain way. It's like, no.
I think it's because of carbs. Let's try it and let's see how you feel after. We'll see next week or 2 weeks. Like there still is, let's try it, but it quickens the process. It gives us more data and a clear picture. And like, who doesn't love something that's customizable? We're all individuals. We love feeling special, and we are special. And we want to figure out like what is perfect for that athlete or that person. Specifically precise.
So I was really interested to see that you do genomic or DNA testing, because that's not something that I've ever done. And I shared with you before we started recording about my son's genetic disease, which is all nutrition related. I wish he didn't have the disease, but I love sharing it with other people that I know will appreciate, like, whoa, what it is, So I'd love to know what type of genetic testing I can't even think of what I would do for an athlete other than like caffeine. Like you can test the caffeine gene to see if they're responders to it. But
that
yeah.
There is that type of testing. We don't do that specific type, but we can guess if they are a caffeine metabolizer or not. But what we do, we test more of like your cellular function, your metabolism function. So it's called an organic acids test. And it's basically, it's measuring all those little metabolites and biochemical pathways that, let's nerd out, that you would see in Krebs cycle, that you would see in the transport chain. It kind of digs into those genes that may be hindering metabolism, that maybe you're a super responder to fat, to carbs, whatever may have you. So it looks at fat oxidation markers. It looks at your detox pathways, your antioxidant pathways, and kind of guides what your best fueling mix would be, or where you may be tired. So it kind of looks at the genetics that go into your metabolism. So with your son, I mean, your son's a one of one case, it seems like. I don't know if that would pick up on it, but because it is kind of a metabolic disorder, then it would probably pick up on something like that. That it would throw a flag up.
Well, I'm trying to think
deeper.
like we do lactic acid testing on him all the time. Does that fall in that category for you, of like these metabolites that you're talking about? Because that's always incredibly high for him because his metabolism doesn't work correctly. And acetic acid. What's the other one that he's got a lot of acids that are high. So you're testing a lot of those acidic metabolites as well.
Yeah, it just kind of gives a snapshot of what we can do to support like mitochondrial support or the anaerobic and aerobic pathways, any antioxidants. So if somebody has like, they're not as good as getting rid or detoxing, then maybe let's really push, some smoothies with a lot of berries in it. Let's push a lot of green tea. Maybe we need a supplement. Maybe we need resveratrol, something like that. And any micronutrients that may be inhibited, maybe let's really have like a targeted multivitamin, or we just have one micronutrient supplementation, or food that has a lot of these, whatever that nutrient may be missing.
So, and this is interesting too, because when you talk about the supplements that could be helpful too, these are things where I'm like, CoQ10, resveratrol, I understand nutritionally the importance of these, but for everybody, like not everybody needs those. It's not like.
No,
so
exactly.
It's like, when do you need it? And it's hard to figure out when you need it. And
a lot of time it's like,
sorry to cut you off.
Yeah. So like the general, take a multivitamin. Take a CoQ10, but you could be just wasting money. So a lot of times these tests are ruling out things or common interventions we would have. So this is also a snapshot of like, hey, you're really good at like detoxing. Hey, you're really good. Your gut microbiome it's flourishing. So like, what are the good things you're doing too? Because I can see it. You can't fake this. So let's talk about the good things you're doing. Let's talk about the good genes you have. Like you're not prone to high triglycerides or high cholesterol. So let's like give a hooray for that. And then let's look at the other things that we can do to kind of help you, because we're all built different.
I like looking at it that way too, not just looking at the testing and what's wrong with you and what needs fixing, but looking at what is your body good at doing, because you can lean into those things more. I think that's a really wise way.
That's your superpower, essentially.
So you also do gut microbiome testing, which you mentioned. I have a lot of experience with that in my clients as well. And to your point, people are having gut issues. They're like, let me take a probiotic. No, when I do a gut microbiome test, it's like 50-50. 50% I'm like, nope, we just need to work on these foods or stop eating these other foods. 50% I'm like, yes, a supplement might help you, but it's not just a general probiotic. I'm like, you need more of these firmicide.
Which bacteria?
You need more of the lactobacillus. You need more of the bacteroides. Like there's so many different ones. And also it's been great for me when I do the lab testing. Every time I test somebody, I'm like, never heard of that bacteria before. Let me go research it, because there's so many, right? And it's so fascinating to figure out this is exactly what this unique individual can benefit from.
So like, for example, I just had a recent client who's in his late 50s and he's still running Ironmans. Like he's just a total one of one again. And we figured out that his microbiome, like it sounds so like classic dietitian, but like he really has a high gluten intolerance. He really did. And like all the markers showed that. And he goes, that makes sense because I've had blood in my stool. I have really bad stomach distension when I'm like carb loading and going for a big event. And when I'm fasting, like for like a blood test or something, I don't have any of those abdominal symptoms. So I'm kind of taking what his gut microbiome is saying and what these tests are saying and kind of putting it all together with his other subjective data and what he's reporting to me. It's like, hey, let's try this. This is very targeted. Let's try this no gluten thing.
And what a game changer too, because here he is as an Ironman knowing I need carbs, I need a carb load, but it's making him feel like crap. So when he doesn't do it, he feels better.
Exactly.
But we know fasting is not the answer to high performance there.
Exactly.
And yeah, and once again, you listen to general nutrition advice and it's like, well, if I just cut gluten out, I might be too low carb. That's not good for me. Well, if I eat then dietitians are saying, if you don't have celiac, then eat gluten. And then you're still feeling like crap. So that's where the testing really play. Fans, I'm pausing the conversation again to check in on you. Are you concerned that you have REDS? That's relative energy deficiency in sport. It's a syndrome of not ideal health consequences and performance consequences that all stem from the idea that you're not fueling optimally or fueling enough for your sport needs. I've become an expert in this over the years because unfortunately, a lot of female athletes struggle with this. We have research that shows sometimes up to 90% of female athletes might be suffering from at least one of the side effects of REDS. Other research says that up to 45% of female athletes are struggling with disordered eating. These are big statistical numbers, and I don't like it. I'm here to help you become fierce, fit, and fueled. So first and foremost, head to lindseycortes.com/REDS to learn more about REDS, listen to past podcast episodes, and take our free REDS quiz to see if this might be a concern for you. From there, I've got 3 ways to help you. 1, download the REDS Recovery Guide and start taking action right away. 2, join our REDS Recovery membership. For a very affordable $15 a month, you will have access to me as a sports dietitian to educate and empower you to fuel better. We meet once a week for live calls, Q&A. You have access to the recordings if you can't join live, and a community group chat to support, encourage, and motivate you along the way to fuel fiercely. Last, spots are limited for one-on-one help, but I can help you personally through one-on-one coaching, be it my Fast Track program, the Female Athlete System of Transformation, or perhaps Fuel School, depending on your age. All of that is on my website, lindseycortes.com. But because one-on-one spots are limited, I really want to encourage you to join the REDS Recovery membership. We live in a world where it's very easy to just pop online, read an article, listen to a podcast, and I think we do a decent job at getting information out there, but we all need someone to talk to and really ask those personal questions, and also be open and honest in a community that's going to support you in your fueling needs and goals. And that's exactly what this membership is. So only $15 a month. We meet once a week, and you will be provided with so much education and empowerment and support. I know you won't regret joining. Head to lindseycortes.com/REDS, and there you will see the REDS Recovery membership that you can join. And join us this week. It's time for you to be fierce, fit, and fueled.
Yeah, and I guess I say that it's so like cliche dietitian because if I didn't have this test, I'm so anti-diet as we all are, and we're so anti-fad that I saw a gluten intolerance. I'm like, oh, gag, really? I'm really going to be that dietitian to be like, oh, break into that fad. But the data showed big time that he has high inflammation in his gut after, not being able to process gluten.
I had the same thing with a client this year.
Yeah, in my own face.
I had the same thing with a client this year with gluten and dairy. She's like, I think I'm intolerant, but she doesn't have celiac. And I'm like, just take lactase. And then we do a gut microbiome test and I see all the markers. I'm like, okay, let's not eat it for 8 weeks and see how we do. And she's doing way better. And then it's like, okay, we need let's stick with this a little longer. And we did start dabbling with a little bit of low lactose foods that after she didn't have any in her system, she could then tolerate some Greek yogurt, which has lactose, but low lactose, right? So we were able to do a little bit because it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't an allergy, but it certainly was creating an altered gut microbiome and inflammatory markers that we could see, which was, So
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
eat all the gluten. And then, there are some people. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, lame. I'm going to be that guy to be like going for the fad. But yeah, it's eye opening because otherwise I wouldn't have had that intervention
Well, and
on
I
this
think this
athlete.
is a good
I wouldn't have.
point for our listeners as well. If they are athletes listening, like get tested because it provides so much clarity because the opposite has also been true. I've had many clients who think they can't process gluten and they can.
Mm-hmm.
They can. Whether it's that like there's other issues going on where their body's just in an inflamed state and we need to control that inflammation through like restoring health on a variety of levels. And then once that's okay, my body can
Mm-hmm.
process gluten now. Like so and so
Yeah. I could have
yeah.
spaghetti. Heck
And
yeah.
I actually went through this myself and I share it with any of my clients that are struggling with this because I actually massively struggled with gluten for like 3 years of my life. I had skin breakouts, I had GI problems. In hindsight, I know, I was underfueled. So later on, when I was better fueled,
Yeah.
which happened naturally, kind of like for me, my personal story wasn't this like, I have reds, let me heal it. It was just like I was in a state of underfueling because I was a high level athlete. And then I got out of that and I just kind of
Mm-hmm.
healed naturally in a sense. Anyways, I won't go down that rabbit hole. There's more to it. But in hindsight, I'm like, I can eat gluten now. It's because I had reds that I was sensitive to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just had a messed up gut, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the opposite can also be true, which again is
Yep.
why, and I got testing at the time, didn't have celiac, didn't have all those
Mm-hmm.
issues. So the testing is so
Yeah.
helpful because it will provide clarity to you as the athlete or, just individual of what is real, what is not, and kind of which path to go.
Mm-hmm.
Conf-
Confirming
yeah. Yeah.
judgments
Yeah.
and what you think.
Okay. I want to move on to CGMs. Does that sound good? Okay. Because
Yes.
you also
Yes.
use continuous glucose monitors in some of your clients and athletes.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a great
Mm-hmm.
conversation about this. I'll link in the show notes which episode with another sports dietitian, Kelsey Pontius. And we dove into, it might have been a year and a half ago now, we dove into the use of CGMs in athletes. And it was the first year that I had started to use a CGM for my son. Again, not an athlete, he's a baby, but
Mm-hmm.
I have everyday
Mm-hmm.
experience with it and monitoring blood sugar that I didn't before. As a practitioner, I had clients that had type 1 diabetes. I would monitor their numbers for, a couple weeks and then follow up with them a month later and whatever. And now I have this hands-on everyday experience with it. But things have shifted where CGMs used to be for diabetes, type 1 and type 2. And then now it's like
Yep.
the everyday person is wearing them. Now athletes are wearing them. We want to see how our blood
Mm-hmm.
sugar, what is it doing during a long run? What is it doing when I carb load or when I get
Mm-hmm.
that crash midday? And I've expressed on this podcast some reservations of using it as well. And that is stemming from a large population of female athletes. This is the Female Athlete Nutrition Podcast. There's a
Yep.
large proportion of female athletes that struggle with disordered eating and eating disorders. And I fear that the use of a
Mm-hmm.
CGM and like eating a banana pre-run, which you're supposed to do, and then seeing your blood sugar spike can freak them out and make them not want to eat a banana. And that's like so sometimes that's where I kind of draw my line of like, sometimes data is not helpful. But I'd love to hear your perspective of why you think it is helpful to use in athletes, maybe when you use it, and maybe what some like amazing, I don't know if you have like a case study or some amazing stories of how it was transformative for some of your
Mm-hmm.
clients.
Yeah, I mean, even like the scale is another monitor where like you want to be weary of any of these testing or any of these interventions, just because you want to be sensitive to somebody's relationship with food and their body image. So, I mean, to that point, that comes up to our clinical judgment of would I recommend a CGM to somebody that I feel like may take it the wrong way? I mean, no, but when you have that clinical judgment of this is going to work for this athlete, then it can really help you just gather more data and perspective of pointing to this is why you're tired, or where this note the time of your long run or your long training, and let's talk about sleep, and kind of let's look at where maybe there's an opportunity to like fuel before your glucose gets too low, or maybe we should eat before bed because you are like bottoming out at 3 a.m. and you might need to have more fuel so you can sleep longer, deeper, and have that recovery period just be optimized. So I had what's funny, I had my mom put it on. My mom has always just like, she's like, I'm always tired. I'm always tired. I'm always tired. And I know her diet, she doesn't eat that much. So I'm like, you know what? Put one on. So she wore it, and she's like, it kind of, her data lined up exactly of like when she was tired. She still runs. She's very active. She runs 5Ks, 10Ks still. And it was like, you need to eat more during like in between meals. And when like you're going to go for a longer run, she's going to go for an hour, have some like full sugar Gatorade and not like the diet Gatorade. And it's going to be okay, because I knew you grew up in like the diet culture era, right? Sugar's bad, fat is bad, but like it'll be okay. And your body needs it at this time. And her level, or she's energy is much more up. She's like, I can run so much longer that my blood sugar that I'm having Gatorade, it's like,
there it is. Yeah.
There it is.
So it's
I can do 4 miles easily.
I'm kind of laughing though, because I love it that we talked about this is good confirmation, but it's funny that it's like she already felt that way. The data of the CGM lined up with her symptoms, but people don't trust their symptoms.
Exactly. And people don't trust like they will trust a dietitian, they'll trust a doctor, but like it's only just word of mouth kind of thing. It's like if I'm saying it and I'm showing you, it's like, okay, no doubt, this is what's happening.
And maybe this isn't true for everybody, but with that example of your mom, like I think there's certain groups of people, and I'm putting her in that category because she grew up in the diet era, where there's such a fear of eating more or sugar. So it's like, I feel tired, but I wouldn't possibly eat sugar. But I'm not going to eat, right? And so when you can,
I just need a nap.
So when you can show it with the data, it brings that point home more. So that's, and I think when I had this conversation with another sports dietitian, she wore one as well, and she runs marathons, and she was like, actually it lined up with exactly what I was thinking of how I felt and what I needed to do. But it was cool to see it. It allowed her to take that action more directly and confidently, to say, I will fuel up again at this point. I know I need it.
Yep. Yeah. It's like, I wore one too for a bit. And when I would go for my hour-long runs, and when I stop when I get really hungry, I'm like, I'm over it. I don't feel like running anymore. And my blood sugar would line up right as I would get hungry. And so I'm like, that lines up, and I'm done. I'm not going to refuel and keep going. I'm not training for anything, and who cares? I'm just a recreational athlete. So it all lined up.
Can we backtrack? You made a point earlier about sleep. Do you have experience with people that you're looking at their CGMs and their blood sugars dropping, and are they reporting that they like woke up or were restless or had low quality sleep? Is there a correlation?
I usually can tell when they have to go pee, because I know when they get up and it's like, the pee is waking them up and their blood glucose is low. So you can tell, like, that's when you get a little restless. You're hungry, you're stirring more. And it usually happens around like that, like 3, 4 a.m. kind of time. And there is an athlete. Yeah, there's an athlete that, like, when I do my long runs, I get really hungry. I wake up and I want to eat something like in the middle of the night. But that's bad because you can't eat in the middle of the night.
Right.
Says who, right? Whatever. But it all lines up with longer run, longer duration, not hitting your fueling goals throughout the day. So your body's like, I'm low. I'm super hungry.
Yeah.
Wake up, dude. Go get some food.
Yeah.
So it all just kind of syncs.
So fascinating. I'm going to bring my son into this conversation again, though, but because he's only 2, so he doesn't communicate this to me.
Yeah.
And he wears a Dexcom CGM, which alerts me and wakes me up. I have it on the loudest setting if he's dropping. But sometimes there are some nights where he wakes up, as kids sometimes do. So he wakes up and he's crying, mommy, mommy, and I go into his room and I lay with him and I get him back to sleep. And then 10 minutes later, his Dexcom is beeping that his blood sugar is low. Like, oh, he's in the
Yeah.
50s now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, he woke himself up. But his
The
blood sugar, when
body.
he woke up, his blood sugar was 70. And I'm thinking that's okay, And then 10 minutes later, it had dropped. So he was on the
But
way.
he's on the way down, and your body just like, I don't know.
So
it's fascinating.
I've just through my experience with my son, I've noticed that he does wake up when his blood sugar is low. And also I want to bring this back to, I love how our conversation started talking about clinical and sports, like lining up perfectly now. That
Yeah.
example of did a long run. Maybe I felt great during my run and all day long. And then at night I'm waking up hungry. My son does that too. Again, he's 2, so every day is different with energy levels and he's growing. But there's days where we manage his blood sugar fine all day. He's stable. He's good. He's a happy kid. And maybe because he's good and happy, he does a lot of running around. And maybe I notice like, oh, he's more physical. This happened yesterday. He was more physical yesterday because we went to a pumpkin patch and then we had t-ball practice and he was participating with his older brother and he was running around. And even though we maintained his blood sugar great all day, he dropped twice last night. His blood sugar dropped twice last night, which is your body overnight is trying to recover. And it needed more energy to make up for what he had spent during the day. And that we can tie this into sports nutrition with your example of a runner, like doing a long run. I'm fine all day, but at night your blood sugar is dropping because it's still pulling those resources to recover your body from what you expended.
And his blood sugar was stable all day. So he was able to like maximize his performance of running around at T-ball and able to exert himself more because he was properly fueled. So then later his body's like, I got to play catch up.
Which I think brings a great conversation, nutrition conversation about the importance of recovery, not just immediately after you work out or train or have a competition, but thinking about that over the next few hours, the next 12 hours, 24 hours, like this recovery. And this is where with athletes, when you're doing 2-a-days and everyday practice, it's like you have to constantly think about recovery, but because this is a process, your body's recovering still for many hours after. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. So fascinating. Thanks for letting me dive into that. I know we're coming up on time. I want to talk to you about so much more, but on the topic of CGMs, like again, my son's is covered by insurance, but these things are expensive. So what do you like? Are there, I don't know if you feel comfortable brand dropping, you don't have to, or if you want to, you can, but like, what, or do you recommend people just like invest to wear them for like 2 weeks to learn something? And then, or do you recommend people wear them all the time? Because my son's is like, I think it's like, he wears the Dexcom, which I think is upwards of $400 and it only lasts for 10 days. Then you put a new one on him.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know if I get like a cool, awesome price, but I go through Stello and it's $99 and you get 2 of them.
And how long does it last?
You wear them from 10 to 14 days. It syncs up with your phone. There's an app. You can check data. You can share it with me, your practitioner. And I can ask you like, hey, did you go for a longer run yet last night? Did you party hard? Like what happened? I can kind of see it in real time. But yeah, it's $99 and you get 2 of them. So just in case one like fritzes out, you can have a replacement, or in case you want to do it again for more data, go for it. But $99, I build it into your package and I do all the ordering of the tests of the Dexcom. And I take care of all the buying and purchasing stuff on my end for any athlete and any client.
I think that's a reasonable investment to get that data and insight, and the fact that you're signing up for your services, you're doing it all for them, and then following through with the nutrition guidance and insight afterwards is perfect. So yeah, and there's differences in brands based on what they're for as well. So I'm not endorsing Dexcom, but they're that clinical grade, like people will sue them if if my son dies, I'm doing Dexcom, right? So there's a different level of pricing there, but that's very reasonable. So
yeah, mine is a little more tailored toward the recreational athlete. Like it says, it's not a diagnostic, meant to be diagnostic. It's more of just like a monitoring with the eyes of somebody that's going to use it for data with whatever activity and other data that you may have. Yeah, it's not, if you're a type 1 or type 2 diabetic or have some kind of metabolic issue or disease, then I'm not going to have you use Stello. You're going to
Yeah.
use something, probably higher,
And we will
like a
hope
Dexcom.
that our country's insurance policies are helping to pay for them, like I said,
We
because
hope. My
yeah,
goodness, we hope.
absolutely. Because we wouldn't be able to do it if not for our insurance. So, well, as you
Yeah.
mentioned, when people work with you, they have so many options. All of these different testing is available with consulting with you. So,
Yep.
let's just give some shout outs and some time to have you promote, how people can reach out to you, what type of people might be, best suited to work with you, some of your packages that you offer.
Yeah, sure. So I have 4 different packages just based on price, based on what level and how deep you want to get into your nutrition, and also what symptoms that you may have. So I have a fundamentals package, which is the basics. It's a blood nutrient profile. So all your micronutrients and minerals and vitamins and what your current level is there, as well as a CGM. So it's kind of like all encompassing, broad. What are your nutrients like and what's your blood glucose doing? And we can kind of talk about that. If you have some GI issues, I have a gut microbiome specific. It's called Gut Check package. If you're worried about some kind of brain health, or you're foggy, or some kind of cognitive impairment, I have a Mind Matters package where we do microbiome, a neurotransmitter panel, and then the metabolic oxidative stress. So kind of a full rundown of mind, gut connection, and what is your metabolism doing, with the CGM too. But then I have the Apex package if you want to kind of see it all: the oxidative stress, metabolomics, the GI, your blood nutrients. So all of your different pathways, and as well as environmental toxins and the PFAS.
We didn't even get to talk about
that. Are you familiar with PFAS?
And I wanted to.
Yeah.
You want to give us a 2-minute overview?
Yeah. So PFAS is the forever chemicals that, I love history too. So history nerd, 1940s and 50s, the big companies want to make more money. They want to sell nonstick pans. They want to sell things that are resistant to heat, like things in your chairs, or things like your deodorant, your shampoo. They want to sell things that are like perfect, ideal, that last for a long time. And they add these PFAS chemicals, or, to nerd out, polyfluoroalkyl substances, which are really, there's strong chemical bonds in these, meaning they're hard to break down. So their shelf life is extended. So they make money. But what these chemical bonds do, they're really hard to break down in our bodies as well. So nonstick cookware, food packaging, waterproof clothing, the firefighting, the foam, that insulating in our houses, they all have these things. And what we're kind of showing, and what the studies show, is that like these PFAS chemicals are leading to some causes of infertility, and male infertility specifically. So this is like, if you really want to get to know like all the things that may be harming you and maybe harming your performance, like this is that next level of checking the environment around. And maybe we change your deodorant because there's too much aluminum in it, and we're seeing that in these tests. Or maybe, for example, we live right by the port of Long Beach in Los Angeles, and what is in the environment out there? What is in the smog in LA? There's even the fires out here, the Eaton fire and the Palisades fire. If you live near that area, did that affect you in any way? Everything that burned around, all these chemicals that are released in the air. Is there something? I know I don't want to sound like a tinfoil or aluminum hat kind of guy, but like there are things out there throughout, and what the science is showing, that it's really hard for our bodies to get rid of them, and over time it can really damage your metabolic pathways.
Well, and I'm so glad we're giving time to talk about this. Thank you for spending some extra time, because when I saw that you do testing for that, I thought that's really powerful, because again, with a nutrition and science focused mindset, I know that these chemicals are real and can cause real harm, but there's so much fear mongering as well, that it's overwhelming as you're the everyday consumer. Like, I don't know what type of pan I'm supposed to buy. And it's like, oh, I'm not supposed to be using this Tupperware anymore. And it gets overwhelming to make those lifestyle changes, and to know, what am I supposed to buy and what am I not supposed to buy. And so I think that to do testing, again, so powerful to provide clarity. is this a concern for me personally? Because you can be, and it might
And it might not
exactly,
be.
and then that can reduce your stress. Or, oh, these two things popped up. These are the two things I will focus on. I don't need to worry about the rest right now. That can provide so much clarity
Yeah.
instead of letting all the fear of I should do this, I should do that, this is harmful, overwhelm us. I think testing could be so
Yeah.
powerful.
And a lot of the fear mongering too that we see everywhere on social media is like the fear mongering starts because they want to sell something specific. I'm not selling BPA free containers or aluminum pans or supplements. I'm not. I just want to find what's right for you. And I don't, whatever recommendations I give, I'm not getting any money back from if I tell you to take resveratrol or buy these copper pans instead. You know, I'm just in it to help you. I probably should sell pans. So maybe I'll make more money selling pans and supplements.
It's
but
tough because then
yeah, no,
people
I'm
trust.
not.
It's so tough in our field of like you line up with a brand, but then it's like, oh, am I being impartial? It's hard. It's
Yeah,
hard.
yeah. You know,
Over time, I've gradually, like, there's like 2 supplement companies that I'm just like, this is amazing. So I've started to promote them more over
yeah.
time. But I know I was like so scared for so long because I didn't want people to think I was biased. But wow.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, so let's everybody, if you're interested in getting tested, nutritionscience.com, and you're on Instagram at nutrition_science. Links in the show notes to reach out to you, to book a call with you, to learn more about these
Yep.
packages. And yeah, you work with men, women, all different sports.
Yep. Anybody from my mom who is in her 70s to I've watched one of my clients every Sunday. He plays for the
Amazing.
Rams. So, and I have another guy that's boxing on Saturday in a big boxing match. So like anybody in between too. I do want to just mention that I do take insurance
That's
now.
helpful.
So there's a link in my bio on Instagram, and there's a link on my website that'll check and see if what's covered, and a majority of it is usually covered if you're covered by my insurance groups. And that's just the counseling will be covered. The packages are an additional price because that's
still
not
so
covered.
helpful.
But I would say, yeah. And the thing with the testing is like, it really shouldn't be done like continuously. If you do it once, you're set for a long time because your genetics aren't going to change and your microbiome takes a long time to change. So it's like it's almost like a one-time investment kind of thing. And you can do these. There are a lot of other companies that can do this and provide the testing, but you get the results and you look at it cross-eyed. Like, I don't know what to do with all of this. It's just hard to interpret. So having a dietitian, having somebody that knows the data and give it into a deliverable that's easier to digest. Hey, pun intended, easier to digest for you and make sense of these like out there high level.
I
100%
agree. Those gut microbiome tests are confusing, and you definitely need someone else, someone trained.
Learn a new microbe every time.
Absolutely. All right, Nick, we end every episode with some fun questions. You ready?
Cool.
If there's one food you could eat every single day for the rest of your life and never get sick of it, what would it be?
Breakfast burrito.
Delicious. It seems very Californian as well.
Yeah, right. With avocado.
Yep.
Of course.
What is your favorite sport to participate in?
Right now, I would probably say, I'm a golfer. My grandpa was a pro. I've been golfing since I can walk, but it's not fun a lot of the time because it's really frustrating. I'd probably say running.
Yeah. So you golf, but it's not fun. So you love running.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah. It's a love-hate.
Well, how about as a spectator then? What's your favorite spectating sport?
Baseball.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Last question. Since this is the Female Athlete Nutrition Podcast, is there a female athlete out there you want to give a shout out to for being exceptional or inspiring? She can be someone well-known or in your personal life. Who would that be and why?
Okay. 3 just came to mind. Okay. Number 1, Diana Taurasi. Female basketball players are like, WNBA is taking off.
Yeah.
But I want to say that Diana Taurasi is like the greatest of all time, and she gets overlooked by the current athletes are getting a lot of love. So Diana Taurasi is
Do you mind me clarifying? She's up there in age, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think
I think she just retired.
Yeah. I think she might have been like the oldest WNBA player. And I mean that in an amazing way, that she performed at the highest level for so long.
Yep.
Yes.
So she's number one. Another one would be Juju Watkins. Now I'm USC guy. And Juju's like the next coming of like Cheryl Miller, I guess. There's another female athlete. Cheryl Miller is another basketball player who probably doesn't get her due because there was no WNBA at the time. But I guess my number one, Billie Jean King, the absolute trailblazer, female athlete. She played tennis. She was in the Battle of the Sexes contest where she played a male tennis player who called her out and said females can't play on the same sport, same court as men. This was in the 80s, so look it up, peeps. And she beat this guy, and she eventually became a strong activist. I think she got the Presidential Medal of Freedom with Obama, and she is a Long Beach local legend. We have like a whole bunch of libraries named after her. We have parks named after her. So she's an LA Long Beach legend.
Yeah, I've definitely heard her name before as well because of more so like the activism work that she's done in years since to support female sports. And amazing. Well, thank you so much, Nick. Thank you for all you do as a dietitian, and thank you for coming on this podcast, educating us, enlightening us. And I definitely hope my listeners who are needing more data sign up with Nick, because he's got so many different tests he could do. He'll help figure out which one is appropriate for you and then help you interpret the data along with your symptoms, your lifestyle, your goals, right? It's not just going to be, here's your data, blah. He's going to guide you through it. And I think that is so key that in this process that you have, a trusted professional that will guide you in the next steps to take with this data. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for listening, and I really hope you enjoyed that episode. Please help spread the message of empowering female athletes to be fierce, fit, and fueled by giving this podcast a 5-star review and leaving a comment. You can also help more female athletes by sending this episode to a friend. Head to lindseycortes.com for more resources, information, more episodes, ways to work together, downloadable guides, and ebooks. And if you're interested in becoming a guest on the show or have a guest suggestion, head to lindseycortes.com/podcast, and there's a form for you to fill out to get on the show. Hey, there's more resources on my YouTube channel, Female Athlete Nutrition, Instagram at female.athlete.nutrition, and private Facebook group, Female Athlete Nutrition. I think you get the point. I'm here to support female athletes by fueling better and becoming fierce, fit, and fueled. Most importantly, if you need help, reach out. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next show.